Okay, this is one of three videos, and I'm going to try and keep these short just so you can get caught up from what you missed. This first one is a review, so I do think I'm going to show a little bit more in this one, and I think this is good for you to hear and see, especially since we had the 5 days off of school. So these first two equations are in slope-intercept form. This is the first form that you learned, and we know it's slope-intercept form because it says y equals, and there's no parentheses. In slope-intercept form, the slope, whoops, that's not what I meant to do. The slope is the number that's in front of the x, so the slope is 2, and the y-intercept is the number at the end. In slope-intercept form, we don't change the sign on anything. We just go with what we've got. So we're going to start at 0, -7 right here, and then use our slope to find more points. Okay? Your homework is going to say to find 3 points. The um, quiz is going to say to find 4. You can follow the directions. Okay, this also, number 2, is in slope-intercept form. It's in slope-intercept form because it says y equals and there's no parentheses. So the slope is the number in front of the x, which in this case is -3/4. And the y-intercept is whatever's added or subtracted onto the equation, which is nothing, which is 0, 0. So we're going to start at 0, 0, go down 3 and right 4, or up 3 and left 4. Okay, on the quiz, you can fit 4 points on there if need be. The graphs are bigger. Okay, number 2. Now this one is in point slope form. And in point slope form, you will recognize it immediately because it's the only one that has parentheses. In point slope form, the point is the opposite of what's with the x and the opposite of what's added or subtracted to the y. So in this case, the point is -4, 2, and the slope is the number multiplied in front of the parentheses, which is -1/3. So when we go to graph it, we're going to go to the 1 point we have and then use the slope to find more points. Okay. Now I'm writing these pretty quickly, but I'm using this as a review. You can pause the video at any time. Number 4 is in point slope form. We know it's in point slope form because it's got the parentheses. So we know that the point is going to be the opposite of what's added or subtracted to the x, which is +1, and the opposite, which is added or subtracted to the y, which is 0. The slope is the number in front of the parentheses, which is 3. So we're going to start at our point, go up 3 over 1, or you go down 3 left 1, and there's your graph. Number 5. This is the graph y equals 5. It's all the points where y equals 5. Okay, so you can have 5, 0, 5, 3, 5, 5, whatever it is, but it's going to form this line, and we have vertical. Oh, that I just did x equals. Let me try that again. I was doing x. I apologize. It's been a long night. Okay, so let's do 0, 5, 3, 5, -4, 5. I apologize again. And so now we have a horizontal line. The slope is 0. The y-intercept is where the graph crosses the y-axis, and it crosses at 0, 5. Okay, last one. X equals -4. All the points where x is -4. -4, 0. -4, 3. -4, 5. -4, -3. But it's all of these points. And when it's a vertical line, it's undefined. This time it wants a point. Well, any point on the graph. So you can have -4, and then you fill in this number to whatever makes you happy. How about 3? But you pick whatever you want. Okay, now we're going to practice writing equations of lines, and there's different ways we can do it. But we're going to write it first in point slope form and then transform it into slope intercept form. So on the first one, it gives us the point and the slope. Now, notice what I've got over here highlighted in yellow. What's highlighted in yellow, that will always stay a y and x. Everything else is a number. And we did do these problems in class on Tuesday before we had break. So when we do this, we're going to do y minus y1. So this is x1, y1. But if I've got minus -5, that's going to be plus 5 equals my slope, which is 2/3 times x minus x1, which is 6. So now we want to get into slope-intercept form. And the first thing we have to do to get into slope-intercept form is distribute. So when I do that, I get y plus 5 equals 2/3 x minus, Now, sometimes it works out nice. And when we multiply this, we're going to do 6 divided by 3, that's 2, times the 2 on top, which is 4. Okay, and because it was a positive times a negative, I knew it'd be a negative. Now I need to get y by itself, so I'm going to subtract 5, and I get y equals 2/3 x minus 9. Now I'm in slope-intercept form. Now notice on the point slope blank, I have the y and the x, just like I did on the right, and over here I have the y and the x, just like I did over on the right side. So it's in that same form, it's just the numbers that are going to change or vary each time. Okay, let's try number 2. Now, number 3 is already done for you, so you can look at it, but I'm just going to do this one here. So in point slope form, we need a point and a slope. We definitely have a point, so now we got to find the slope. So our slope is going to be -5 minus -3 over 8 minus 4. Well, minus a negative is plus a positive, so that's going to give me -2 over 4, and -2 over 4 is going to simplify to 1/2. Okay. Now, when we plug it in, it doesn't matter which point you use. I'm going to use this first point, but it doesn't matter at all. So when I plug it in, I'm going to have y minus -3, which is plus 3, equals -1/2 times x minus 4. And now we're going to distribute. So I get y plus 3 equals -1/2. A negative times negative is a positive. Half of 4 is 2. I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. So I get y equals -1/2 x minus 1. Now, I'm not going to redo the problem, but um, if you were to use the other point, you'd still get out the same slope-intercept form. All right, let's look at this one, number 4. So you can sometimes do this from a table, but when we do the table, we got to find the change in y over the change in x. So the y is going up 3, and the x is going up 2. So that means my slope is the change in y, 3, over my x, which is 2. So now to put it in point slope form, I have y minus y1. Oh, I got to pick a point. Does it matter which point? Nope, this one seems nice, so we're going with it. So we have y minus 3 equals my slope, which is 3/2 times x minus 1. Now we're going to distribute, so I get y minus 3 equals 3/2 x minus 1 times anything is itself. Now we got to get y by itself, so I'm going to add 3 to both sides. Now I'm going to write this bigger over in a bubble so you can see it for the first time we did it together. So I have -3/2, and I am adding 3. Well, right now 3 has an invisible denominator of 1, so I got to make the denominator 2 so they can match. So since I multiplied the bottom by 2, I have to multiply the top by 2. And -3/2 and 6/2 would give us 3/2. So we get y equals uh, 3/2 x plus 3/2. And now we're in slope-intercept form. Okay, let's try it if we have, and I'm going to leave 5 and 7 up here so you can pause it and write it down if you wanted, but let's try it from a graph. So from a graph, we know we need a point and we need a slope. Well, point we've got, slope, I'm going to go down 1 and over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so my slope is going to be 1/5. Now I need to pick a point. So it doesn't matter which one. I'll pick this one. This point is 2, 3. So in point slope form, I'm going to have y minus 3 equals, whoops, totally miswrote that, 1/5 times x minus 2. So now I distribute. So I have 1/5 x. 1/5 times 2, multiply straight across the top, and I get 2 over 5, because 1 times 2 is 2, 5 times 1 is 5. Okay, now we need to add 3 to both sides. So I get y equals 1/5 x. Now 3 has an invisible denominator of 1, but I need to have the same denominator, so make this 5. So that's 15. So 15/5 is the same as 3, right? So I have -2 and positive 15. Just making sure I have all my signs right. Yep. So that's going to give me -13/5. Okay, here's some more examples that you can look at. This is video 1, but I've got the other 2 videos that you can look at as well.